The flickering bulbs of the graveyard shift diner hummed like exhausted hornets, bathing every surface in a sickly green glow that turned even the stainless steel edges dull and diseased. I stood behind the register, my fourth mug of burnt coffee cooling untouched, while Marlene wrapped up what she insisted on calling my orientation. Orientation was charitable. It had been 20 minutes of her dragging on Pall Malls while jabbing nicotine-stained fingers at equipment. Grills moody. Give it 10 to warm. Coffee makers spiteful. Wiggle the basket. Register jams on 7. Skip receipts unless they beg. She blew out a cloud of smoke that hovered like a restless spirit. Questions? I had 100, but her tone warned me she wasn't in the mood to hear them. I think I've got it. You don't? But you'll learn. She crushed the cigarette into a mug that had likely never held coffee, then hauled out a monstrous 3-ring binder from beneath the counter. The thing was 4 inches thick, wrapped in cracked vinyl the shade of congealed blood. She dropped it onto the Formica hard enough to rattle the sugar shakers. Everything else is in there. Don't ring me unless the building's burning. Maybe not even then. She snatched her purse, an enormous vinyl beast built to survive apocalypse, and headed for the exit. The bell above the door jingled as she shoved it open, letting November's razor wind slice through the place. Marlene, I called. She paused, half-turned. What about the strange stuff? Her face stayed stone. What strange stuff? You know, night shift, roadside diner, I've heard. Don't! Her voice cut clean and final. Just read the binder, kid. Don't wonder. Just obey. The door swung shut behind her, the chime tolling like a death knell. I was alone. The binder lay on the counter like an accusation. I cracked it open, braced for the usual corporate drivel. Health codes, mop schedules, how to placate drunks. The first section delivered exactly that. Detailed diagrams for the dishwasher, ideal temperature for the soft serve hopper, an oddly exhaustive tutorial on 6 styles of eggs. Then I hit the laminated page heading the second section. Special procedures, after hours, protocols typed in ancient typewriter capitals. Beneath, 5 regulations laid out like clauses in a contract from hell. Rule 1, Booth 3. Should a female patron matching description, see Appendix A photograph, arrive, you will silently and instantly guide her to corner booth number 3, farthest from entrance. Menus are forbidden. Prepare 1 full pot Earl Grey tea, specified brand and cupboard, 1 solitary sugar cube, and serve. No conversation. Rule 2, payment. Upon completion of tea, patron will leave leather physician satchel on table as compensation. Do not unlatch. Do not jostle. Using towel provided beneath counter, transfer satchel directly into vault. Combination 20-40-60. Vault remains sealed until corporate retrieval date. Rule 3, olfactory anomaly. A subtle scent of hospital-grade disinfectant and ferrous material, e.g. copper, may be detected near patron. This is neither to be recorded nor mentioned aloud by personnel. Rule 4, facial expression protocol. Should subject's countenance shift into smile, see Appendix B diagram, immediately establish and maintain eye contact with your own reflection in any reflective surface, window, urn, toaster chrome, until front door bell sounds twice, confirming departure. Rule 5, contingency for protocol failure. If Rule 4 is breached, i.e., smile is observed directly, do not run. Unlock vault, retrieve most recent satchel, extend it toward subject using both hands. Remain motionless until subject either accepts or exits. This is sole corrective measure. I read it 3 times waiting for the punchline. Classic new guy prank, right? Terrify the dropout on his first solo graveyard. Laugh about it over morning donuts. Except Marlene didn't look like she'd laughed since the Reagan years. I turned to Appendix A, a faded Polaroid, colors bleached to sickly amber. It showed Booth 3, same cracked vinyl, same scarred Formica. Seated there was a woman. Even through the decayed film, her beauty was wrong. Porcelain skin, no pores, no life. Dark hair in perfect waves. Hospital gown, vintage, immaculate. Eyes huge, blue, and completely void. Not thoughtful, not distant, void, like rooms stripped bare. On the table, satchel rested on the table, old-fashioned, heavy with history. Hands folded, pale, motionless. Appendix B was hand-sketched on medical chart paper. Same face, but the mouth stretched into something obscene. Teeth too many, too sharp, receding in impossible rows. Gums drawn high, exposing roots. Whoever drew it had either witnessed the abyss or possessed a truly diseased imagination. I slammed the binder shut and barked a laugh that echoed too loud. Hilarious. Still, I checked. Booth 3 was exactly as photographed. I sat, felt the ancient ghosts of spilled coffee and broken dreams. The wall clock clicked to 10:47 p.m. 7 hours, 13 minutes until daylight. 7 hours, 13 minutes until Marlene returned and I could demand answers. I started the shift for real. Refilled urns, scraped grill, wiped counters already clean. At 11:15, the first customer arrived. Trucker named Dale, ZZ Top beard, hollow eyes, eggs over easy, hash browns, silent scrolling on phone, $2 tip. Normal. Midnight brought a bickering couple in booth 1, pie untouched, tears in the restroom. Normal. 1:30 a.m. On State Trooper, Coffee Black told me about the pileup on 77 South. Normal. The hours crawled. I cleaned the same surfaces 4 times. Memorized ceiling tile cracks. The diner breathed its mechanical lullaby of refrigeration and distant tires. At 3 a.m., the world thinned. I'd read that most hospital deaths occur around 3, when the body is weakest. Standing beneath buzzing lights, darkness pressing the windows, I believed it. I was refilling napkin holders when the bell chimed at 3:14. Older trucker shuffled in, 60 maybe, face mapped by a million miles. Ordered coffee, black, cradled the mug like it was the only warm thing left on earth. Quiet night? Yeah, pretty dead. He glanced toward booth 3. She still sits there, huh? My blood froze. What? That regular. Lady in white. Always that booth. Been decades, kid. Every late run through here, sometimes she's just there. Never saw her come. Never saw her go. Pretty, I guess. But wrong. Like a mannequin wearing a patient gown. He finished the coffee in 3 gulps, tossed a 5 for a $2 pour, and left. Taillights vanished into black. Slowly I turned. Booth 3 was empty, yet the trucker had seen her for decades. This wasn't hazing. I walked to the booth like moving through deep water. Neon outside flickered red-blue across the seat. The hum sounded less like comfort, more like a warning buoy. Keep away, keep away. I returned to the counter, legs foreign. Clock read 3:21. I told myself the trucker was delusional, the binder corporate paranoia penned by lawyers who'd binged too many late-night creature features. But my hands shook, pouring yet another coffee. I wiped surfaces a 5th time, reorganized pies, counted eggs again. Anything to avoid booth 3, anything to avoid the clock. 3:25. Lights dimmed imperceptibly, buzz dropping an octave. Highway noise receded, as if the planet outside paused breathing. 3:28. I opened the binder again, rereading until the words blurred. My eyes kept returning to Rule 1. When she arrives, obey, without hesitation. 3:30. I found myself at the cupboard, staring at 30 identical boxes of that one expensive Earl Grey. Who stocks 30 boxes of anything? I took one down, felt its weight, rehearsed in my head. Boil water, fine teapot, 1 cube only. 3:32. Each tick of the second hand stretched like taffy. 3:33. The bell chimed like a scalpel through silence. I turned, heart slamming ribs, and she was there. The photograph hadn't prepared me. Nothing could. She was beautiful the way deep water is beautiful. Beautiful and lethal. Skin flawless, luminous under fluorescence. Not a pore, not a blemish, not a trace of humanity. Eyes vast, blue, devastatingly vacant. Hair midnight waves. Hospital gown starched 1940s white, pristine against the grime. In her right hand, the leather physician's satchel, heavy, dragging her gait slightly, yet she moved with liquid impossibility. The smell rolled in. Hospital antiseptic sharp enough to sting sinuses. Under it, old pennies. Under that something wet and vital gone wrong. She did not blink, did not breathe, simply stood, waiting. I needed the job. Bills, loans, eviction notice. $11 an hour plus tips plus monthly completion bonus. Survival. I walked toward her through molasses. She did not track me. I stopped 3 feet away. Close, the wrongness intensified. Skin looked molded, not grown. I gestured toward booth 3, hand shaking. For a terrible second, nothing. Then she glided past, gown whispering, satchel thumping softly. Antiseptic copper death flooded me. She settled into booth 3 exactly as in the Polaroid, hands folded, staring at nothing. Tea. I stumbled behind counter, hands useless. Kettle took forever. Found ceramic pot, dumped bags, poured water, counted 1 sugar cube 3 times, carried tray back, set it down without looking at her face. She poured, added the cube herself, lifted cup with mechanical grace. The sipping sounds, slow, deliberate, wet, shouldn't have carried but did. Metronome of nightmare. I retreated, gripped counter until knuckles blanched. 15 endless minutes. Finally, the soft clink of cup returned to saucer. She rose, glided out. Bell chimed once, twice. Gone. But the satchel remained. Leather warm. Something inside shifted with a slick sound. I wrapped the towel around my hand like armor. Lifted. Heavy. Pliable. Alive. Carried it to the hidden safe. Spun 20, 40, 60 with numb fingers. Inside was dark and empty. I shoved the bag in, felt it settle among shadows that weren't shadows, slammed the door, spun the click of the lock sounding like a coffin lid. Then I stood, back against cold steel, shaking. The rest of the shift blurred. I must have watched the tea service because later I found myself scrubbing porcelain at the sink, hands moving without me. Antiseptic lingered, woven now into coffee and grease. No more customers. I watched dawn crawl pink across asphalt. At 6:55, Marlene's car crunched gravel. I met her at the door, jacket on, keys clenched. "Everything quiet?" she asked, lighting her first smoke of the day. I wanted to scream, to shake her until answers fell out. Instead, I looked at her exhausted eyes, the decades of surrender in them, and said, "Fine. Everything was fine." She nodded like she'd heard that lie 1,000 times. "Same time tonight." "Yeah." I drove home into sunrise, hands white on wheel. Apartment unchanged. Bills, dishes, silence. Normal. Except I could still smell it. Showered twice, skin raw, still smelled it. Antiseptic and blood and something older. That night I returned, and the next. By the third night I recognized the signs. At 3:30 lights dimmed, buzz lowered, highway held its breath. I started the tea before the clock even hit 3:33. She came every night, precisely 3:33. Same entrance, same glide, same mechanical sipping, same departure, same warm living satchel left behind. By the 5th night I could carry the bag without trembling. By the 7th I could serve tea without heart trying to punch through ribs. I became the protocol, but the horror grew roots. I dreamed of the vault opening itself, bags dragging across tile with wet sounds. Woke gasping, antiseptic sharp in my nose though I was miles away. 7 bags became 14. I felt them when I stood near the safe. Pressure, presence, heartbeat. Once I swear I felt a slow pulse against my palm through leather. Other drivers noticed. Jimmy asked if I was sick. "You look like death, kid." I lied, caught my reflection in the urn. Sunken eyes, skin gray as ash. I looked like I belonged to the night now. 14th night, the fax machine coughed to life at 9 p.m. Collection scheduled 0700 November 16th. Maintain protocol. Vault must contain minimum 14 units. Confirm. 14 units. Tomorrow morning, someone would come take whatever pulsed and leaked inside those bags. I called Marlene. "What happens to them?" Long silence. Exhale of smoke. "Not your business." "What's inside the bags, Marlene?" "You want to keep breathing? Stop asking. Do the shift. Take the money." She hung up. I was going to look. Just once. Just to know. Shift dragged. Served the usual ghosts. At 3:30 I made tea. Calm. Resolved. After she left, I'd open the safe. Quick peek. What could it hurt? 3:33. Bell chimed. She entered. Same glide, same gown, same satchel, same stench. I escorted, served. She sipped. Then her head swiveled, too far, too smooth, eyes locking mine, lips parted. No, not tonight. Mouth stretched impossibly, skin extended like rubber, gums bloodless, teeth endless rows of needles disappearing into darkness, throat pulsed, something climbing upward, appendix B made flesh. My brain screamed, reflection, urn right there, my distorted face clear. Rule 4, I couldn't move. I wanted to see what came next. She rose, smile fixed, began gliding toward me. Rule 5, don't run. Offer the newest bag. I fumbled the panel, spun combination, yanked door. Shouldn't have looked inside. 15 bags breathing in unison. Dark fluid oozing, alive, climbing leather like ivy. One older bag split, fingers inside, pale, flexing. Deeper, a smooth curve of skin. An eye opened, looked at me. I made a sound no human throat should make. Grabbed newest bag, warmest, pulsing hardest. Spun, thrust it forward with both hands. Take it back. She stopped 3 feet away. Smile still wide. Inside throat things writhed. Wet, slithering. Her hand rose. Fingers too long. No prints. No lines. Closed over mine on the handle. Cold absolute. Vision slammed me. Operating theater. Woman screaming silently. Something ripped from her womb. Something with blue vacant eyes and that smile. Doctors recoiled. The newborn thing grew. Became her. Back in diner. She had the bag. Smile faded. She turned, glided out. Bell twice. Gone. I collapsed. Right hand gray, frostbitten, shape of her fingers branded. Safe still open. Remaining 14 bags breathing. At 7 black sedan arrived. Man in gray suit. Ageless. Forgettable. New combination. Counted. 14. Minimum met. Rule 5 invoked. He loaded them into his briefcase like groceries. Gave me envelope thick with cash and new laminated page. Appendix A updated. New photo, me behind counter, blurred, making coffee. Her in booth 3, sharp focus, lips beginning the smile, staring straight into lens. You're part of documentation now, he said. Previous photo was 1987. Needed current. Diner took it automatically. You were present. You're in the chain. Every employee back decades is in a photo. You keep the ritual or they find another diner, another town. Without protocol, things don't vanish. They walk free. He left. Marlene arrived. Saw my hand, the empty safe, my face. Lit cigarette with shaking fingers. Gave me triple bonus in envelope. Told me the last guy who quit was found 2 states away, face frozen in that smile. Note pinned to chest. Breach of contract. I took the money. 2 weeks later, I was back on nights. Gray stain stopped at mid-forearm, permanent. Told people it was a birthmark. Lied to myself too. She still comes at 3:33. I still serve tea. Still take the bag. Still lock it away. Still feel them breathing together. Sometimes she smiles. I don't look away anymore. I just wait. Calm. Resigned. I'm in the photograph now. Part of the procedure. Part of the transaction. One day the photo will be old and yellowed, and some new kid will open the binder, see my face in booth 3, staring out with vacant blue eyes just beginning to smile. The ritual continues. The transaction is maintained, and the smell of antiseptic has simply become the smell of home.